Today, we will know the life and the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who is called as the father of nation, India. Since a very long time, the geographical mass called as India has been known for the spiritual wisdom. Great many spiritual masters have been born here, and this country, a very rich and prosperous country, apart from wisdom, went into the hands of several countries, out of which British captured and looted the country like anything, not only in terms of wealth, but in terms of all the attempts to break the cultural fabric of this great nation. For not 1 year or 2 years, but for 400 years approximately. The 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries have been dominated by huge amount of bloodshed, massacre, genocides across the world. No law, so much of barbarianism, killing, and lot of famines and droughts. So many famines and droughts because of forced agriculture by the British. The cereals and pulses were stopped and have been converted into producing cash crops and opium. The rain dependent areas have been much worsened. In this scenario, a Jewel was born in the year 1869, 2nd of October, in a small village called Porbandar, for which his father was the Diwan, Karamchand Gandhi. Those days, because of massive maternal mortality rate, Karamchand Gandhi had 4 wives. The first two died very young. Third didn't have any children. The fourth, Putli Bai, bore this great soul, Mahatma Gandhi, the last of all, who was a shy boy who joined school at the age of 9. Late schooling is always good because the child retains his freshness of astral wisdom. These days, children are put to school right from 2.5 years, 3 years, 4 years, especially in Asian countries, especially in India. Early conditioning of the people and he completed his high school in a span of 9 years, before which time he got married to Kasturi Bha, who is 1 year elder to him. After his schooling, Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Gandhi, did his higher education in the state of Gujarat. A shy boy, a vegetarian boy, very timid, always playful and very restless as per his sister, was much excited with the marriage. Young boy, but education dominated his excitement. He went to the United Kingdom, London, where he studied law. He stayed there for around 4 years, came back, and he was so shy, so timid, so much asocial that he could not argue cases in the court of law. Feeling much more shy, he went to his native place and started his career as document writer, where there is no argument. He should just document on the paper. Seeing his plight, his friend, a Muslim friend, offered him a job in Johannesburg, South Africa. At the age of 23, he left for South Africa, where he lived for almost more than 2 decades. He faced the discrimination, horrible discrimination of the British towards Africans and Indians as well. He was thrown. He was thrown from the running train in Pietermaritzburg, not once but several times. He was kicked, spit on the face. So many insults, so much of horror, so much of discrimination. Seeing all these things, his will has become more centered. 23 years away from his native country, India, somewhere far away in South Africa, in the city of Natal, Durban, Pretoria, Johannesburg. He was traveling, uniting the Indians there, helping the Africans there. He built huge connections. He was a great writer, writing a lot of letters to so many dignitaries of the world like Leo Tolstoy, on whose name he founded Tolstoy Farm in Africa. The letter to Hindu written by Tolstoy to Mahatma Gandhi became very famous. And he started contacting his political guru, Gopalakrishna Gokhale. And at the age of 46, with the invitation of Gopalakrishna Gokhale and C.F. Andrews, he returned back to India, met his spiritual guru, Sri Rajchand, from whom he learned the art of centeredness. The ability to stay stable in any given situation. He started fasting. He started implementing soon after he reached the country in the year 1915. He was 46 years old then. So many issues were there Within a couple of years, he became famous because of the civil disobedience movement. Slowly started and reached its peak in 1920. Arrested, was put in jail, but he harnessed the will to stay stable in any given situation. He kept himself continuously busy through spinning mill, through writing, through talking, through reading books. Whenever he was ill, he was used to practice naturopathy. One day, Sarojini Naidu, Nightingale of India, who never met Mahatma Gandhi in India, but for the first time she met him in the city of London, knowing the place where Mohandas Gandhi was living. Sarojini Naidu went to his place to find him grinding tomatoes. He was having a wooden bowl full of tomatoes, eating them in a simple half-lit room. That was the situation when Sarojini Naidu met this wonderful man. His simplicity attracted, united the whole country. Despite great efforts he put to unite all the religions and the people who are practicing religions, there was so much of divisive consciousness which was uncontrollable, and hence Pakistan, Bangladesh got separated from the mainland of India. His interest in naturopathy were very, very flabbergasting sometimes. He used to drink goat's milk. He used to think that goat's milk is very healthy for him. Wherever he used to go, travel, his goat was taken. Even when he went to London, the goat was traveling with him in the ship. He named his goat as Nirmala, and Nirmala's milk he used to have daily. Some habits, some interests, some passions never wither away. His teachings of non-violence, ahimsa, caught the psyche of Indians. With the continued efforts of British government to divide the country by religion, by caste, by literacy, by wealth, and so many other routes, by regionalism, separating princes from the public. In so many ways, Gandhiji's main effort was to unite India, unite all the forces of diversity in India, despite linguistic diversity, geographical diversity, financial diversity, and so many other varieties of diversities. He tried his best to unite the country. His strategy was totally different, the first of its kind in the world, which inspired leaders like Martin Luther King. The principles of ahimsa, win the opponent by love, not with hatred. Win the opponent by disobedience, non-cooperation. A passive resistance, like we have passive relaxation, passive attention to get centered, passive resistance to win the opponents. No active resistance, no agitation, no aggressive agitations, everything passive. Through passivity, the great spirit brought independence to this country. When he was put to jail, He was diagnosed of having appendicitis, acute appendicitis. Instead of 6 years, he left the jail within 2 years to undergo the surgery without anesthesia. Without anesthesia, abdomen was opened, appendectomy was done. Such a such a great will, man of very great will, to bear the pain of surgeon's knife is not so easy. He did it without anesthesia. He always tried to gather the will, keep himself completely at the meridian, to keep himself under control and in perfect balance till his last breath. He was continuously harvesting these skills. Apart from the principles of non-violence, he taught people the power of love. Winning the opponents by love, not by hatred, not by violence, and continuous experimentation with the truth. This experimentation he called as satyagraha, holding the truth firmly. That's what satyagraha means. A firm holding of truth in any given situation. No deviation from truth. That was the greatest teaching of Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't preach, don't teach, don't promulgate, but practice. Be the change. You lead people by example. That was the greatest teaching of Mahatma Gandhi. And a vision, a great vision of bringing independence back to the country by way of uniting the bits of positive forces. He declared in Lahore and celebrated the first independence on 26th January 1930. He started celebrating that day as if India got independence. Though officially India never got independence by 1930, yet he declared. And every year that day was celebrated. 26th January 1930. Since then, till 1946, it was celebrated. But he could not stop the separation of the country on religious lines because of the growing fundamentalism of religion across the world. Whatsoever the external resistance, Mahatma Gandhi maintained his poise, maintained his continued experiments for truth, maintained his humbleness and simplicity, collected his will always, and led the country by the power of love. Let us salute this wonderful. In the life of Mahatma Gandhi, what he was before 23 years has been totally different from the later part of his life. A shy, timid, cowardly, not much social Mohandas, after reaching South Africa and staying there for more than 2 decades, gathered all his will, gathered all his centeredness to become a wonderful leader. And for the first time, implementing the principles of non-violence to obtain freedom from very cruel, very oppressive British. The cruelty was totally different. For example, during the time of Jallianwala Bagh, happened in the year 1919, 6th of April, when so many Hindus and some Sikhs attended on the occasion of a festival. The then General Dyer, opened fire, killing hundreds and thousands of people on the spot. And the media in England highlighted General Dyer as savior of India. They presented General Dyer as a great person, very kind person, and very protective for India, who has killed hundreds and thousands of people in a single day. Mahatma Gandhi ji gave a call to all the citizens of India to maintain tolerance and work against British with love rather than hatred. Had they been working with the element of love, they would have avoided a horrible massacre. Children were dismembered, 1 year old, 2 year old. The arms and legs and head, skulls, body parts were garlanded and put around the necks of the mothers. So much was the cruelty, horrible cruelty. In the spiritual world, it is said that at the age of 23, the physical body of Mohandas has been occupied by a great soul, because that was the only occasion when the principles of non-violence can be introduced to the world, awakening so many peace lovers and peace brigades. And this entity, who is generally called as a walk-in, made Mohandas a Mahatma. The original soul of Mohandas vacated, and in his body, this new soul arrived and brought freedom to the country. The whole life of Mahatma Gandhi has been totally spiritual. He has been ardent spiritual sadhak continuously and a great karma yogi. He clubbed his attention to the work. Whatever it is, be it a spinning mill, rotating the wheel, be it activating the citizens of country towards several movements, Rowlatt movement, civil disobedience movement, Quit India movement, so many movements, Simon Go Back movement, so many movements he led, Chauri Chora incidents, Jallianwala Bagh incidents, so many pathetic incidents happened, partitions. Despite all these things, he stood more stable, more centered, and delivered right things, right goods, on right time. That's how India brought independence back. Even during the Caliphate movement, he was supporting the Muslims of Turkey who were working against the Britishers. Britishers occupied Ottomans that time. And the leader of the nation of Turkey, Ataturk, was greatly supported by Mahatma Gandhi ji. And Ataturk, in the year 1930, I think, tried to gather the other European countries' strength to work against British, and hence asked Gandhiji for funds. Gandhiji was a continuous collector of funds. Whatever people used to give, gold rings, gold bangles, necklaces, cash, coins, whatever they have. He collected all the gold and gave to Ataturk to work against the British. Incidentally, Britishers receded without the military coup of European countries and got freedom to the Turkey without any bloodshed. And the gold that was obtained from Mahatma Gandhiji was not given back to him or the country. And the Bank of Turkey has been opened with that gold. Till date, the Bank of Turkey is still there. That is Indian gold. So many incidents in the life of Mahatma Gandhi ji, both in his ashram, Sabarmati ashram, helping the poor, cleaning the lepers, cleaning the roads, cleaning the entire world with his principles of non-violence, and an epitome of great spiritual mastery, apart from a politician and a freedom fighter and a writer. Thank you very much.